and that expands cargo room to 66.3 cubic feet. Up front, the Tucson PHEV has a few useful storage nooks and a small bin below the climate controls that also houses the wireless phone charger. The central bin is pretty large, but there isn't a convenient place to store a purse or bag, so those may end up on the seat or the floor. For those with young children, the Tucson PHEV has easy-to-access lower seat anchors and 3 upper anchors, one for each rear seat. There is enough room as well to fit any type of car seat without too much trouble, though to fit a rear-facing seat comfortably, the passenger may have to scoot forward slightly, but not so much as to be uncomfortable. How's the fuel economy? On our testing route, the Tucson PHEV logged 29.3 miles of range using just battery power. That comes in short of its EPA estimated 33 miles of electric-only range, but it's still enough range to turn short errands or most commutes into gas-free affairs. The Tucson PHEV kicks over to hybrid mode with 15% of its battery remaining, and once that happened we averaged 37.2 miles per gallon for the rest of the route, which beat its EPA estimated 35 miles per gallon combined. Is the Tucson plug-in hybrid a good value? The Tucson plug-in hybrid commands a large price premium over the regular Tucson and the Tucson hybrid as well, a difference that's harder to make up as the PHEV no longer qualifies for a federal tax credit as of this writing. The more you can use the PHEV solely on electric power, the quicker your costs will be recouped, but it will take time. Solid build quality and a strong feature set make the Tucson PHEV feel like it's worth its price on most occasions. And since it's a Hyundai, the robust warranty adds to its value proposition as well. Powertrain and battery components are covered for 10 years per 100,000 miles, and it comes with 3 years/36,000 miles of free scheduled maintenance. The Tucson plug-in hybrid goes about its business without fuss and leaves the driver feeling satisfied but not wowed. Its styling will be hit or miss. The exterior is covered in angles and creases that give the crossover vehicle a crinkly wrapper. Those grille-integrated daytime running lights give it an interesting visual signature at night, but at its core, the Tucson PHEV is exceedingly practical transportation. Which Tucson plug-in hybrid does Edmunds recommend? We think the SEL is well enough equipped for most buyers. It has a full complement of driver aids and plenty of convenience features. But there are no option packages available for the SEL, so if you want that panoramic sunroof and upgraded audio system you'll have to pony up for the limited Hyundai Tucson plug-in hybrid models. The 2022 Hyundai Tucson plug-in hybrid is a small SUV available in 2 trim levels, SEL and Limited. The Tucson combines a turbocharged 1.6-liter 4-cylinder gasoline engine and a 13.8 kilowatt-hour battery powering an electric motor to produce a total output of 261 horsepower, and 258 lb-ft power gets sent to all 4 wheels through a 6-speed automatic transmission. Feature highlights include: SEL comes well equipped with features such as LED exterior lighting, keyless entry with push-button start, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay smartphone integration, wireless connectivity for both, power-adjustable driver's seat, heated front seats, dual-zone climate control with rear passenger air vents, 8-inch infotainment touchscreen, 6-speaker audio system, 4 USB ports, 2 in front, 2 in back, household-style power outlet. It also comes standard with many advanced driver aids, including automatic emergency braking, warns if a front impact is imminent and applies the brakes if you don't respond in time. Driver attention warning, issues an alert if sensors determine you are becoming fatigued. Lane keeping assist, steers the Tucson back into its lane if it begins to drift over the lane marker. Blind spot monitor with rear cross-traffic alert, warns you if a vehicle is in your blind spot during a lane change or while in reverse. Safe exit assist, can prevent a passenger from opening a door into traffic approaching from behind. Adaptive Cruise Control maintains a driver set distance between the Hyundai and the car in front. Limited adds a substantial amount of extra equipment, including panoramic sunroof, dark chrome exterior trim. Parking sensors alert you to obstacles that may not be visible in front of or behind the vehicle when parking. Paddle shifters, rain sensing wipers, improved voice recognition software, adjustable ambient lighting, digital instrument panel, auto-dimming rearview mirror, leather upholstery, heated, leather-wrapped steering wheel, power adjustable passenger seat. The Limited also has more technology and driver assist features, including upgraded Bose audio system, 10.25-inch infotainment touchscreen, power adjustable front passenger seat, ventilated front seats, heated steering wheel and rear seats. Surround view camera system gives you a top-down view of the Tucson and its surroundings for tight parking situations. Blind spot camera displays an image of the vehicle's blind spot in the instrument panel when you activate a turn signal. Rear collision mitigation braking applies the brakes automatically to stop the vehicle to avoid or minimize a collision. Lane keeping system makes minor steering corrections to help keep the vehicle centered in its lane.
Planning on towing or hauling a lot of stuff with your SUV? The 2023 Ford Expedition might be just what you're looking for. This large 3-row SUV offers seating for 8 and is one of the biggest and most capable vehicles out there. But it's also plenty refined and offers just about everything Ford supplies these days in regards to technology, including BlueCruise, which is a helpful hands-free driver assist system for use on select highways. Much of the Expedition's robust capability comes by way of its truck-based underpinnings. Ford says you can pull up to 9,300 pounds with the Expedition when it's properly equipped. That's enough to pull a good-sized trailer or boat. Or if you need space for a family road trip or to help move house, there's the long-wheelbase Expedition Max body style and its substantial 121.5 cubic feet of cargo space behind the first-row seats. The Expedition is one of just a few large SUVs around. The Chevrolet Tahoe and GMC Yukon, plus the related Suburban and Yukon XL, are the Expedition's primary rivals, but you might also consider the relatively new Jeep Wagoneer or Wagoneer L. Toyota is out with a redesigned Sequoia, too. What's the best max-sized SUV for you? Read our test team's expert rating to find out how the Expedition stacks up. We're impressed with the V6 engine's muscle. Any SUV this large can't really be this quick, can it? We tested an Expedition Platinum with 4WD, and it accelerated from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.9 seconds. That's almost a second quicker than a comparable Chevy Tahoe. The Expedition is responsive and easy to drive when you aren't burying the accelerator into the ground too. The brake pedal is slightly squishy when you first press on it, but ultimately it's pretty easy to come to smooth stops, which is the important part. The steering has a light effort and helps to make this Expedition feel a little less humongous. While you won't likely be driving your Expedition with Secret Service-like urgency, there are some pretty admirable qualities here for such a large SUV. It's no Mercedes GLS, but this does not feel clumsy. The Expedition's front seats are comfy and cushy. They have multiple zones of lumbar support and even have a massage function in the higher trims. The second-row seats are also decently plush. The third-row seating is firm but still adequate for adult use. The Expedition's ride quality is pretty smooth too. We were less impressed by the Expedition's climate control. The airflow from the vents is noisy and not particularly strong. The seat heaters also might disappoint if you really like them to get hot. On the upside, the Expedition is impressively quiet on the highway and around town. How's the interior? The Expedition makes full use of its interior space. It's roomier than the Chevy Tahoe and gives every passenger ample room and comfort. The third row's accessibility is particularly impressive, allowing even adults to get in and out without much more effort than it takes to sit in the second row. The center console is a bit button-heavy. It's not immediately user-friendly, but it doesn't require too much time to master. It's a simpler layout than the Tahoe's too. Visibility out of the front is hampered by the massive windshield pillars. But even though the rear window looks to be a mile away, a clear backup camera and available 360-degree camera system take the edge off backing up. Ford's Sync infotainment system has come a long way over the years, and the newest iteration is pretty user-friendly. The navigation system does look a bit dated but offers pinch-to-zoom functionality, helping to make it quick and easy to use. Our test vehicle's 12-speaker Bang & Olufsen audio system made good use of the Expedition's large cabin, providing both power and clarity. The voice controls are basic and can help with simple functions. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay smartphone integration systems come standard with wireless connectivity. The Expedition's advanced driver aids, such as adaptive cruise control, work fine but aren't quite as full-featured as those in some rival SUVs. The Expedition has a listed cargo capacity of 20.9 cubic feet behind the third row, 57.5 cubic feet behind the second row and 104.6 cubes max. That's less space than its direct rival, the Chevy Tahoe. But the Expedition's extra spaces for all your knickknacks, plus its flexible seating arrangement, more than compensate. The Expedition is also a good vehicle for hauling little kids around. It has easy-to-access anchors for safety seats plus lots of room to fit rear-facing seats. Towing capacity is great with a maximum capacity of 9,300 pounds when properly equipped. The Expedition gets an EPA estimated 19 miles per gallon in combined city/highway driving. That's similar to what the EPA posts for other large SUVs. But we had difficulty matching the EPA's numbers in our real-world testing. Something else to consider is that premium fuel is required to get the quoted power numbers. During our time with the Expedition, we could notice a difference in performance between regular and premium fuel. The Expedition is priced comparable to other large SUVs such as the Chevy Tahoe. Warranty coverage is also typical for a non-luxury automaker. Interior build quality and materials choices slightly exceed what's available from its crosstown rivals. The Expedition isn't fun to drive in the classic sense, but it is rewarding to summon its muscle car-like torque and use this big SUV for its intended purposes. Road trips, daily commuting and heading out to the great outdoors are all right up the Expedition's alley. The mid-range limited trim gets our recommendation in the Expedition lineup. It adds convenience and luxury items such as a hands-free liftgate, leather upholstery, premium audio, adaptive cruise control and a navigation system to justify the cost increase. It's also eligible for a more powerful engine and sport suspension as part of the Stealth Performance package. The 2023 Ford Expedition is a large 3-row SUV that's available in 6 trim levels: XL, XLT, Timberline, Limited, King Ranch and Platinum.
2024 Audi Q8 e-tron and Q8 e-tron Sportback go farther, quietly. The Audi Q8 e-tron and its smooth-backed sibling, the Q8 e-tron Sportback, enter 2024 with a new name, more range, more efficient batteries, better aerodynamics, and faster charging. The mechanical changes address customer concerns about range and performance, while the name change, from just plain e-tron to Q8 e-tron, is to give buyers a better sense of where the big 2-row SUV sits in the brand's lineup of EV and ICE offerings. Like the gas-powered Q8, the Q8 e-tron sits at the top of the range, a roomy cruiser ready for glamorous day trips or making day-to-day errands feel glamorous. The base model starts at $75,595, and the Sportback Launch Edition we drove, with the dark chrome S-line trim and orange piped leather interior, rings in at $95,395 with options. Q8 e-tron range and charging times. The dark chrome and orange details are hints that the Q8 e-tron is a luxury SUV with a touch of sporty flair. It gets a bit more flair for 2024 with both a redesigned grille and headlights that highlight its slightly wider body. The styling changes also reduce drag, achieved through new wheel designs, shutters in the nose that can open for cooling and close for smooth sailing, and bodywork around the wheel wells that channels the wind. The wind cheating helps the 2024 Q8 e-tron get better range than the 2023 e-tron, an EPA estimated 285 miles for the standard version and 296 miles for the Sportback, 300 miles with the optional Ultra package, up from 225 to 226 miles before. The improved aerodynamics also let the air also pass by with barely a whisper of wind noise, even on the highway. The Audi's improved efficiency isn't just from the aero updates. The Q8 uses two motors, and for 2024, the rear motor gets extra windings that allow it to create a stronger magnetic field from the same incoming electricity. The result is more torque and reduced energy consumption. Couple that with a higher capacity battery, 106.0 kWh compared to the outgoing 86.5 kWh pack, and you get more range. Recharging times have also improved. The 2024 Q8 can now take in 170 kilowatts, up from 150 kilowatts, at a DC faster charger and should be able to go from an almost empty 10% battery to a back-in-action 80% in around 31 minutes, according to Audi. For Level 2 home charging, the standard 9.6 kilowatt charger will refill the battery overnight, in about 13 hours, while an optional 19.2 kilowatt setup, an $1,850 upgrade, can do it in half that time, driving the Q8 e-tron. We have to admit we weren't doing charging math while behind the wheel of the Q8 e-tron. In fact, we were somewhat startled to look down after a glorious run through the dappled light of a Northern California redwood forest and realize we had about 40 miles of range left. It's easy to lose track of how far you've gone because the Q8 is so pleasant to drive. It's quick, with a combined 402 horses from its two motors, but not neck-snappingly so. From a stoplight, a foot to the floor would get you to 60 miles per hour in 5.4 seconds, according to Audi, which is middling acceleration by EV standards. And yet it strikes us as just the right amount of power for an SUV of this size, not so fast that you're backing off in a panic if you get a little heavy-shoed, but plenty torquey enough to power out of curves and confidently merge into fast-moving traffic. Changes to the Q8 e-tron steering and suspension improve the driving experience. A quicker ratio of 14.6 to 1 instead of the previous 15.8 to 1 results in a more responsive wheel. The front suspension gets a stiffer bushings, and the adaptive air springs, which offer 3.0 inches of height adjustment, soak up bumps and ruts with aplomb. Along with the suspension settings, the Q8 offers 7 different drive modes, which alter ride height, accelerator response, steering feel, stability control programming, and power delivery. Brake energy regen can be adjusted via paddles on the steering wheel, and the most aggressive setting will just about bring the car to a complete stop. The brake feel is fantastic, with no grabby spots in the pedal travel as the Q8 transitions from regen to friction braking. As is often the case on California's Highway 1, we had to stop several times due to road construction. In the Q8 e-tron Prestige, with its massaging seats, the delay afforded the opportunity to kick back and admire the drifting coastal fog as it floated gently over the panoramic glass roof. Well, during the second stop, we were able to do this. The first one was spent delving through the extensive menus in the 10.1-inch upper display screen to figure out how to turn off the various lane-keeping beeps. For the record, it's in both the settings menu and on the end of the turn signal stalk. The Q8 is screen-heavy, with a second display for climate controls below the main infotainment screen. There's also screen-based instrumentation, and in the Prestige trim we drove, a head-up display. The Q8's interior is much like the exterior, with a design that could be more radical but certainly won't upset anyone. The center console layout doesn't make the best use of space for storage, with cup holders crammed up against the shifter and the vertical phone slot, but there is a left side drawer in the dash that's perfect for parking garage tickets and secret snacks. Human space is excellent, the seats are comfortable both front and rear even in the sloped roof Sportback. Electric vehicles and SUVs lend themselves to comfort and luxury. Audi was wise to recognize that and not attempt to make the Q8 too focused on handling or acceleration. The improved range means less worry about recharging, allowing drivers to relax and enjoy the smooth, quiet ride. Beneath the purple skin specific to this commemorative edition 50 jar that celebrates a half-century of BMW's M division, and shared by all M3 competition models, is a stonking 503 horsepower twin-turbo 3.0-litre inline-six. With launch control engaged and the boost holding above 15.0 psi, the quickest ever 3 Series leaps to 30 miles per hour in 1 second. The scoot to 60 miles per hour takes 2.8 seconds, and the quarter-mile passes in 11.0 seconds at 124 miles per hour. All-wheel drive comes standard on the Edition 50 jar and can be had on any other M3 comp for $4,000. It adds roughly 150 pounds to the curb weight, but the additional traction helps the 50 jar clobber its rear-drive counterpart by 0.7 and 0.6 second in the 60 miles per hour and quarter-mile drags, respectively. The beauty of the competition's X-Drive mode is that it offers the best of both worlds: all-wheel drive for supercar-grade acceleration and decoupling of the front axle to enable a rear-drive mode for power oversteer shenanigans. Moving away from the world of dynamic insanity, when the drive modes are left in their softest comfort settings, the M3 Competition X-Drive is a livable place for daily consumption. The sharpest impacts reverberate up forged 19-inch front and 20-inch rear wheels and through the $4,500 carbon fiber buckets. The super supportive seats are somewhat tricky to enter and exit yet provide a surprising amount of comfort. As with all 2023 3 Series, the M3's interior is treated to BMW's curved display that incorporates a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster and a 14.9-inch touchscreen infotainment system. The iDrive 8 operating system replaces most of the physical buttons for the HVAC and radio controls with a not-so-intuitive infotainment menu structure. Fortunately, iDrive 8.5 rolls out this summer, and BMW promises to solve these teething issues by improving the layout. Perhaps the fact that this 5-seat sleeper returned 27 miles per gallon on our 75 miles per hour fuel economy test is enough to forgive iDrive's shortcomings. More on the BMW M3 starting at $83,595. The M3 Competition X-Drive delivers astounding performance for the money. The Edition 50 jar comes standard with a carbon fiber splitter and decklid spoiler, titanium tailpipes trimmed with carbon fiber, M Sport seats, a 50 jar specific carry-on suitcase, the executive and parking assist packages, adaptive LED headlights with laser light, wireless device charging, and M Shadowline trim, swelling the Windows sticker to $96,695. The only extra cost options are the aforementioned carbon fiber seats and carbon ceramic brakes. But its time at the top of the 3 Series hierarchy will be limited. The lighter 2024 cubic meters CS with an extra 40 horses and Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires arrives in the second half of this year. Whether the CS's $36,100 upcharge is an economically sound decision remains unknown, but it'll certainly contest the throne.
2023 Mercedes-Benz GLC 300 Formatage. As goes the Mercedes-Benz C-Class, so goes its sport utility sibling, the GLC Class. Benz's compact executive sedan received a comprehensive makeover for 2022. Adding a 48-volt mild hybrid system to the powertrain and overhauling the looks, the cabin, and the tech therein. Now, it's the GLC's turn, and while the 2023 GLC 300 may not look all that different from the outside, it's grown a bit and picked up some notably nicer accoutrements. The 2023 GLC 300 hides its newly envisioned dimensions well in pictures, but it does appear portlier in person. With the wheelbase unchanged at 113.1 inches, and length expanding 2.4 inches to 185.7 inches, all that growth goes right to overhang, an observation our bathroom mirrors are all too familiar with. Luggage capacity is up by nearly 3 cubic feet, to 22 total. Since the wheelbase is unchanged, it shouldn't come as a surprise that front and rear legroom change by just 0.1 inch, the front shorter, rear longer, and feel no different in the new model. A few other dimensions have been massaged to boost aerodynamic slip. The GLC 300's drag coefficient now measures 0.29, an improvement of 0.02 over the outgoing model. Overall height is down 1/10 of an inch, the front track grows by 0.3 inch, and the rear track is nearly a full inch wider than before. Weight is up a fair bit, to 4,406 pounds versus the 4,122 pounds we measured in a 2020 model. Whether it's purchased with rear or all-wheel drive, a $2,000 upcharge, the GLC 300 is now a 48-volt mild hybrid. The integrated starter generator bolts up to a turbocharged 2.0-liter inline-4, producing the same 255 horsepower as before, but torque rises 22 pound-feet to 295. The electric motor can add up to 23 horsepower and 148 pound-feet, but not at peak. That motive force gets routed to the wheels by way of a smooth-shifting 9-speed automatic transmission. With nearly 300 additional pounds of mass being shoved around and only 22 extra pound-feet on tap, the 2023 GLC 300's acceleration suffers, but not by much. The GLC 300 reaches 60 miles per hour in 5.7 seconds, 0.3 seconds behind the 2020 model. The story's similar in the quarter, with the 2023 model crossing the line in 14.4 seconds at 95 miles per hour, a negligible difference to the 2020's 14.2-second run at 96 miles per hour. These numbers remain superior to the last BMW X330i we tested, and they're about even with the Audi Q5 Some of this comes from the tires, which on the 2020 model had 235 divided by 55 R-19 Pirelli Scorpion Verde. All-season run flats at all four corners. Our 2023 example wears wider, staggered AMG wheels, $850, and rolls on 20-inch Continental Eco Contact 6 summer rubber measuring 255/45 up front and a whopping 285/40 in the rear. That Rubenesque contact patch certainly helps explain our improved skid pad figure of 0.88 G, besting the old GLC's 0.85 G, not that impressive, though, when accounting for the transition from all-season to summer tires. Mercedes's tweaks to the 2023 GLC Formula Boost EPA estimated highway economy to 31 miles per gallon, 3 miles per gallon more than the outgoing model. The GLC 300's newfound electrification also sweetens the SUV's on-road demeanor. This stop-start is among the smoothest on the market, reviving the gas engine with nary a shudder. Under deceleration, it's difficult to notice when the engine shuts off for low-speed coasting. This smoothness extends to the steering, banefully so, as it's devoid of off-center buildup and is just numb all around, and the brakes, which are easy to modulate for consistently smooth stops. The remaining parts of the Merc's driving experience would be best summed up as sport-adjacent. The GLC's standard adaptive dampers keep things nice and smooth over mildly uneven parts of the roadway, and body motions are well controlled, but more dramatic humps and bumps transfer a good bit of motion inside. If we were ordering our own GLC 300, we'd stick with the standard 18-inch wheels, with tires that have thicker sidewalls and should deliver a better ride on Michigan's Martian roadscape. Chuck the GLC into a corner and, sure, it'll lean more than a C-Class, but it stays well sorted and makes a good case for taking the long way back from school drop-off. The four-banger sounds pretty good when you give it the beans too. It's a damn shame about that steering considering how well sorted the rest of this car is. If your commute has more traffic lights than curves, you're in luck, because now you can appreciate just how much better the GLC 300's interior is. The waterfall-like center console shape remains, but the rest has been revamped to match the style found in other Mercedes vehicles, and it works well. Our sample GLC's dashboard was covered in natural grain blackwood with aluminum strips, $200. The steering wheel has been upgraded with a sharper design, but fans of physical buttons will find very few anywhere inside, a point of occasional frustration, as the capacitive directional pads on the steering wheel spokes are way too easy to activate by accident. The panoramic roof, $1,500, features a thinner cross strut too, not that anyone would notice. Do you love screens? Well, the GLC is a modern Mercedes, so you'd better. The old model's deep-gauge binnacle has been trashed in favor of a 12.3-inch display with multiple layouts, and the capability to display a full navigation map. The 11.9-inch standard center touchscreen runs the latest iteration of MBUX infotainment software, which is responsive, sufficiently easy to navigate, and includes wireless smartphone mirroring. The center display will pick up and reflect greasy fingerprints like nobody's business, so take your preschool instruction to heart and wash your hands often. While the GLC 300 4MATIC's $50,250 base price is in line with the segment, things can get expensive in a hurry. We're staring down an as-tested price of $65,950. Some of that comes from the top Pinnacle trim's $4,450 price bump, but standalone options sure aren't cheap either. More aggressive AMG line styling will set you back $3,450, although the night package's blacked-out trim only adds $200 to the bottom line. The driver assistance package contains all the usual active and passive driver aids for an extra $1,950. Even this specific shade of cardinal red metallic is a hefty $1,750. Despite the bit of sticker shock, the 2023 Mercedes-Benz GLC 300 4MATIC is a strong contender in the Entralux department. Its cabin is vastly improved over its predecessors, while its new hybrid components add a dollop of smoothness to around-town duties. Yet it still can let loose and have a little fun, even with the extra junk in the trunk. Cars are Andrew Croc's jam, along with Boresenbury. After graduating with a degree in English from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign in 2009, Andrew cut his teeth writing freelance magazine features, and now he has a decade of full-time review experience under his belt. A Chicagoan by birth, he has been a Detroit resident since 2015. Maybe one day he'll do something about that half-finished engineering degree.